This story is titled The Wedding. When Levi's friends found out he was finally going to marry Leah, they all got together and started making some tremendous preparations. All the people who worked for Levi decorated the barn. They put up streamers, set up tables and chairs. The place looked like a palace. Long ago, the fellow Levi helped get a job at the inn, contacted all of his restaurant friends, and they donated food. All the homeless people that Levi and Leah helped to feed, they got together, did the cooking and the serving. Even Levi's Roman soldier friends said they would escort the wedding party dressed in their finest uniforms, riding their mighty steeds. Hey, it was really quite an affair, quite an occasion. Jewish weddings were a little different than the ones we have at our church. In our church, everybody gets together and the groomsmen come out, the groom along with his best buds, and they wait for the bride to arrive. At a Jewish wedding, the bride and all of the guests gather together and they wait for the groom. And it isn't like, well, the wedding starts at 1 and so the groom's going to be here at 1. No. When the groom arrived was a bit of a surprise. So the bride and all of the guests would get together and they would have a bit of a celebration, a bit of a feast. They would be having a good time, but they were most interested in when the groom arrived because that's when the wedding really began. There would be some rumors. Hey, he's on his way, not show up. It was part of the fun. It was part of the expectation of it all. Well, for this particular wedding, the room was filled with a lot of Jewish citizens and a number of Roman soldiers. The Jews and the Romans didn't normally like one another very much, so it was kind of tense in the room. This was not what it was supposed to be like, looking forward to a wedding. So finally, David, because he knew some of the Roman soldiers from having helped to feed them and take care of their horses, he crossed the room and he said, "Hey, Justice, tell everybody about that time you guys captured that notorious criminal in Caesarea." Well, that Justice could sure tell a story. He had them all enthralled, and it was a lot of drama, and it was quite a story. In fact, when he was done, everybody clapped. They thought it was really cool. And that broke the ice, and before long, the Roman soldiers were showing the kids their swords and allowing them to play with their shields and giving them piggyback rides around the barn. In fact, everybody was having such a good time, they didn't even notice when Levi showed up. The best man had to yell a couple of times, "Here comes the groom! Here comes the groom! Hey, over here, you groom!" And oh, yeah. Everybody ran over to the door and welcomed Levi into the proceedings. Well, they had the wedding. It was really beautiful. Everybody danced and had a wonderful time. The meal was delicious and grand. Then on the procession out from the barn to the inn, Levi and Leah rode on the cart while Benjamin was leading them along. And they were escorted by the Roman soldiers on their mighty steeds, looking all polished and handsome and strong. It was quite a sight to see, almost like a parade in itself. And on down the street they went. Levi said to Leah, "I can't believe it. I'm just a guy who cleans barns. Why would so many people be so kind to me, to us?" And Leah said, "Oh, my dear, You're much more than a man who cleans barns. You're a man who loves God. And because you love God, you love everyone. You treat everyone with respect, whether they're Roman or Jewish, whether they're rich or they're poor. You treat everybody like a son or daughter of God, whether they deserve it or not. Oh, no, my dear, you're much more than a man who cleans barns. You are a man of God. Levi said, yeah. And you know what? It's all because of Jesus. I used to be so worried about what people thought about me, and I always felt sad and lonely. But when Jesus loved me and taught me how to love others, all that changed. It really doesn't bother me what other people think about me anymore. I'm too busy loving them. And when I do, God blesses me in so many tremendous ways. Like today, this wonderful wedding. Well, as the procession clip-clopped down the road, Benjamin caught a glance of these big, strong horses on either side, clip-clop. He felt like the general in charge of them all. He felt like crowing. But you know what he said? Hee-haw. Of course. What else does a donkey say? Well, as the procession was going on down the street, they just happened to pass Jesus and his disciples walking the other direction. Andrew said to Jesus, "What's Levi doing with all those Roman soldiers?" Jesus replied, "Expanding the kingdom, my son. Expanding the kingdom." Amen. And that's what we're supposed to do. Expand the kingdom. And we do that by loving other people. And when they notice we've loved them, we tell them about our best friend of all, Jesus. Amen. Expand the kingdom, my friend. God bless. Hope to see you again soon.